Hello guys, what's up? Good morning to you guys. Live chat. Right. Hello, good morning. Good morning. So, quick update about my emotional state. It is always starting from your very own emotional state. So, yesterday, it was a cloudy day for me. Had a very bad argument with my wife yesterday, and last night we managed to have a family meeting between me and her, and everything sort out, clear the fog. The weather has gone, and right now it is about you know going into the market with a sense of joy and trying my very best to produce the live stream that you guys need to learn, to trade, and to use it as a reference prompt. So I think a good practice, before we do anything, right? A really good practice before we do anything in the market is to really try to check your very own impulse. It is to really try to understand your very own emotional state right now. And for me, it is 10 a.m. in the morning in Malaysia, 2nd of April 2026. And a quick update about how I feel right now at this particular moment. I feel great. I feel hopeful. I feel that life is full of possibilities. I feel a sense of positivity. The weather is great. So I would really want to use this positive mental state and emotional state that I'm currently in and to give it to you guys. Okay, I want to give you guys to feel that sense of positivity from me in front of the screen. I hope that you feel it. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to channel this positive energy into the financial market. I'm going to channel this sense of positivity into trading. And I think that is important because when you trade, if you trade with a bad mode and you trade with a mode that is, making you anxious, and it is probably like you're driving dangerously when you're not in a good mood. So think of it like driving, right? You want to drive in a very chill, calm, emotional state. So same goes to trading because in trading, there's risk, there's reward. You risk a certain amount of your money to achieve, a certain amount of reward. Just like driving, you risk a certain amount of safety because on the road there's going to be risk, right? But you risk a certain amount of, you know, distance so that you can achieve your destination while you're driving. So that is the intention. The intention of the day is to enjoy trading as much as possible, right? So guys, if you're in the Telegram group, I want you to type the word enjoy. Okay, ENJOY, enjoy. Okay, the intention of today's trading is simple. We want to enjoy trading as much as possible. It's enjoy trading. Okay, it is not exciting for trading. It is not want to trade. It is not desperate to trade. It is that simple. It is enjoy trading as much as possible. So guys, if you are with me in the Telegram group, in the YouTube chat, I want you to type the word enjoy. Okay, because this is the intention of today's live trading session. All right. So guys, now the next thing would be pick a playlist that you love. Pick a playlist that you really enjoy listening to. Go in the market to have some fun. Nice song. Okay, guys. So now let's get to the market with this sense of joy, this sense of, excitement, and really try to make ourselves some money during live trading. So for those of you who are new to my channel, new to my style, so for me, I'm actually, you know, I use auction market trading as my main hypothesis in trading. So here's something that I want to show you, which is kind of interesting yesterday. A quick recap on yesterday's trade. And I believe some of you guys actually placed the trade with me as well. So for those who actually make some nice profit here, congratulations. Yesterday, this was the main, okay, this is actually the main trade that, the only trade that we placed yesterday. Okay, so long story short, so yesterday we realized that, the buyer, which is the bull market, is actually knocking the door of the resistance. And when I say the bulls are knocking on the door of resistance, it means that this particular tick key level right here, $4,736. Okay, and it is testing this level, and it actually, after it tested it, okay, it actually break through to form a true break. And then we did anticipate yesterday that, okay, if the price actually touches this zone right here, it means that it will serve as a really good entry point for, to really benefit from this movement. And congratulations, guys, we did make a really nice forecasting. So guys, anyone it is actually in my live stream yesterday, because do I did a 1 hour live stream yesterday as well. And during that 1 hour time, this is actually the setup that I came up with. So guys, if you're here, click yes in the chat box. Okay, so this is actually the setup that we did yesterday, and it managed to hit TP successfully. So if you did manage to take the trade just like me, congratulations. And today we're gonna go back in and try to make money again. So now, so for me, it is simple. I have how I actually trade the market. To me, I have what do you say? I have a habit, which is I don't like to use, the drawing that I draw yesterday. But today I'm thinking of making it an exception. I'm trying to see that is it like possible for me to really learn what is going on in the market right here. So there's definitely some movement. And considering the fact that, this low volume node and this structure here, and this is actually from the macro time frame, I am planning to, use it again. But right now, I'm gonna go to the 1 hour time frame and see what's going on. So obviously we have a very big, action here. So let's see, let us understand the movement a little bit. One way to understand the momentum is to use fixed range for the profile. Okay, let's go to the 4 hours. You know what, guys? I'm gonna stick to my plan. I don't like to use. I really don't like. I don't know why I don't like to use the structure that is from yesterday. I think that it doesn't give me that kind of the sense that I need to make a good trade. I always try to refresh it. I try to like maintain it, but the feeling of trading is different. I just don't believe in, you know, things that is happening yesterday. It's just a mental thing. It would be way better, that I, you know, re redraw everything, from the very beginning, so that I can get that kind of sense that I need in trading. All right, collecting information. So first thing first, asking myself when I look at the market in gold and US dollar, what do I actually see in front of me? What is the structure? What is the state of the market? Right? The first thing is would be what is the state of the market? Daily time frame, right? We're talking about XAU, USD, right? 2nd April. So right now we're gonna be a detective together, right? We're gonna go in, try to be a detective and try to understand the market flow. First thing first, so the next question would be asking yourself, what is the market regime? So a very easy to understand rule of thumb would be just two concepts. Is it like balance or imbalance, right? Really ask yourself, is it like balance or is it imbalance? So it is, and I'm going to show you what do I mean by balance. You can say that this is a balance and this entire structure is called imbalance, right? So right now, based on what I see, So if you're new to this live stream, most of the time I'm gonna, listen to some music, just chill, keep quiet, and try to collect information from the chart. And through this note that I wrote here, you can actually see that my thought process, how do I actually collect information, based on the observation. And what I do is that I see myself like a detective. I collect, pieces to pieces of information, and without, trying to give an assumption that soon. And by the end of the session, I will actually use this entire node and put it into AI to help me to spot, the pattern that is most reliable for me. So it is easy because for me, my job is to collect evidence. And after I collect the evidence, I will pass this, entire node to AI, and AI will help me to do pattern recognition. So which is much more reliable. So yeah. And I think that is probably the reason why I love to redraw, all of the I love to redraw all of the chart because as a day trader, it gives me much more sense. All right, we have a key level here. Is this a key level? Nope, we do have a key level here, 3 touches. Yep, found a key level. Let's make it thick. Okay, there's a key level below. All right, I think that is enough added evidence for the daily. And now what I do is I zoom in to the 4 hours. Yes, some people think that this trading style is slow, not that exciting, like scalping, like all those kind of, exciting kind of trading style. But for me, I just enjoy trading this way because it gives me a sense of control. It gives me a very grounded approach in trading, and it is an invitation to explore. And it is not boring, it is actually pretty fun. Right, let's zoom in. Okay, so right now what I'm gonna do is simple, okay? I'm gonna take this entire piece here, and then what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to go to my AI assistant and try to, well, brainstorm it. So based on what, Cloud is telling me, the daily transition from balance to imbalance actually confirmed buy aggression, which is, buying power is really there. And it wasn't a slow grind, it was an intentional spike seeking for new value. So that's actually a healthy auction behavior on its own. But the detail would be the LVN, right? So the low volume node context changed everything. And the price didn't spike into a value area, it spiked into a vacuum. Nice. A zone where historical participation is thin. So this is a really interesting analogy, right? So the big red candle right here, the big red candle right here is right. So the big red candle, the big red candle, this distributor here is not a normal pullback. It's a very aggressive selling in a zone where, all the buyers don't have historical defense. Okay. And the floor would be here, the ceiling would be here. Nice. The buyer. Mm, nice. Okay, cool. So here's gonna be the hypothesis. All right. So just okay. So currently, it is not a good idea to enter because it's actually in the middle of LBN. So let the price travel to a boundary, either the distribution retest above or the macro support below. The vacuum actually pushes impatience and reward those who wait for the edges. So we are actually looking for, a much more favorable sell for this particular trade. And the entry would be around 4,658 if it retests and hold, right? So this is basically the setup that we are talking about. It's going to be like this. Just a moment. So the entry would be around here. We can go to the 15 minutes, right? So my entry would be here. And the stop loss would be around here. Yep. Yeah. So this would actually be a better setup. So currently, if I were to trade the gold market, the entry would be, for 4,700, which is this area right here. So if it retests this particular zone and it faces rejection, and I would actually, candle high, just a moment. All right. So this will actually be the proper setup for um, this particular trade. And the TP one would be at 4,658, which is here. Okay. And this one, we can actually aim for at least TP3. Okay. But we don't enter right now because it is currently still in the battle. And the only trigger point that is much more reliable is actually when the price actually come from here, and all the way up and test this level a few times. If it didn't manage to close here, then it actually means that we have a good chance that it's going to go down. So this is going to be the setup, right? Yeah. So this is the setup, which means that we're going to wait a little while. Of course, we have, scenario B as well, which is, a buy trade. Um, but, based on what's happening right now, it shows us that, the selling power is much more reliable. Yep, this would be the setup. Okay, guys, so for the gold market, currently what we are doing is to really, wait for this reaction right here. Wait for this, you know, price action to retest the level around like 4,700, and we will see how does it actually react on this level. So the optimal trade would be a sell trade. I'm looking for a sell trade right here, and it's gonna, what we're gonna see is that it went from here, and then we want to see how strong is, the seller defending from the buyer. So if the defend is strong enough, after few attempts, especially good closing from the M30, then I would see it as a signal and I will go in for a trade. Okay, I will definitely go in for a trade after this one. So if I'm trading the
15 minutes and 15. I will go to 30 minutes as my reference. And what I want to see is that if, right here in the M30, we have a full candle that is actually close, beneath this level, I will take that as a signal. And right after that, I will gonna go in as an entry. Okay, so this would be, it depends on the next candle. So we have like 15 minutes countdown. So after 15 minutes, if this full candle is currently being closed below, then we have a really good chance, to go in for a sell trade. But still, we want to see a potential retest that is coming to test this level. After it tests for a few times, maybe one candle or two candle, I will go in, for a sell trade. Because right now in this market regime, making a sell trade is much more reliable than making a buy trade. Okay, so that is the setup for this particular gold trade for today. So for gold US dollar, um, the big picture, and I'm gonna tell you guys. So gold just make an aggressive move upward, okay, over the past few days, right? It has been moving extremely aggressive for the past few days, and it's like a locket run. So buyer actually pushed the price up very, very hard and fast into an open space with no real resistance below or above. Okay, so that kind of open space, all right, the open space is actually what we call low volume node right here. Okay, a price zone where historically, very few trades happen. So when price enter this zone, move become fast and unpredictable, which is this one. Okay, and the price actually spiked all the way up to major resistance, which is around like 4791, and immediately being rejected with one of the biggest red candles we've seen recently here, which is this one. And the seller, this is actually seller stepping in hard and fast, right? So the trading plan is simple. We're looking for a sell opportunity. Okay, we are looking for, we are leaning towards sell short. Okay, so we're watching, price drops, and we want to see it retrace back up to 4,700. And if it gets rejected again, all right, we sell. Okay, if it get rejected again from 4,700, we're gonna sell it, right? So the stop loss is gonna be around 4724. Okay, around 4724. We're gonna set it. Four seven two four 323. All right, this is gonna be the stop loss, and the entry would be 4700 V2. Okay, and profit level 4626,849. Right. Yeah, so this is going to be the optimal setup for this particular trade. Okay. So yeah, we wait for the fish to arrive, to this particular level right here. Okay, so currently I am discussing with uh, AI, which is, what would actually switch from scenario A to scenario B. So scenario A is this one, right? This is actually scenario A we're talking about. This is actually scenario A. And scenario B would be, went from a short position into a long position, right? We went from intending to sell to buy, right? So one condition stand out above others, which is a very strong impulsive M30 or 1H candle close above 4724. All right, so this would be 4724. Okay, so 4724 would be, let me do it this way, and I'm gonna change the color a little bit. Okay, let's make the color slightly weird. Okay, so if it reach 4724, 323, there you go. So if the price actually went from here and then it start to it start to have a really strong candle and an impulsive one, right? A committed close here and a full closure right here, right? A full committed close right here. We would actually went from a sell position into a buy position. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. So this one is going to be scenario B. right? This is going to be scenario B. Okay, and this is going to be scenario A would be here. There you go. Scenario B, scenario A. This is better. All right, guys. So take a good look at this one. Okay, so if the price actually have a strong impulse go back up here, we're gonna go back, switch from a sell momentum into a buying momentum, right? So this is actually what we're gonna do. Scenario A and scenario B. So Kalini asked me, sir, shall we do a sell limit setup at 4,000, you know, 4.7K? So let me take a look. All right. So for me, we don't do, a sell limit yet. Okay, I don't use a sell limit. The reason is that we want to see the reaction. We want to see the reaction of the candle. If you use a sell limit or a buy limit, it actually, limit your capability to spot, is the candle actually closing fully so that you can react right away. So I don't use sell limit or buy limit, because if you use sell limit and buy limit right now, it means that you are actually assuming that level is already relevant. So don't use buy limit or sell limit. What you can do is to really set an alarm when the price reaches that particular time, that particular setup, which is 4.7K, the entry level. When the price is testing, is retracing and retesting that particular level, you make sure that you're actually in front of the screen. Okay, so you don't do a sell limit or price limit. Okay. So use, market order on confirmation. Don't use a limit order. The reason is because that if you use a limit order, you actually bet the level will hold. So if you use a market order on like confirmation, you know that you will actually held. So you don't try to like, assume that it's gonna work, because the price is currently in LBN, right? So trade what you know. Okay, so be in front of the screen to really see, what's happening in front of you. Don't use a buy and sell order. There's a reason why, but use this one, right? Trying to understand it this way. All right, so this is the setup for gold. This is actually the setup for gold market. I'm gonna wait. So my priority would be scenario A. This would be, this would be my the highest probability would be this one. Okay. Scenario A would be high probability, and scenario B would not be, a high. It is second. Right. So for this particular trade, we are aiming for, wait, write it down. All right. We want to wait for the price to actually touches that particular level so that we can understand, what to do with it. So currently this is the setup. Let me take a screenshot and send it to you guys. Okay. So I think the more that you actually trade with me, the more you understand, my style of trading is highly influenced by market state. I don't try to predict the direction. I try to understand what is actually happening right now, right here at this particular moment. Nothing much, nothing less. And you try to position yourself in a position that will allows you to make the highest profit. Okay? So let me send it to you guys. It's gonna give you guys some setup. All right, so for the go, it is going to be the waiting game. Before we analyze the next pair, let us chill and just chill and communicate for a while. So how you guys doing? Is everybody doing good? We have 31 participants in our live stream Telegram. Hello, guys. I think some of you are from Australia, some of you are from Thailand, Indonesia. Welcome to the live stream. So for those of you that are really new to my live stream and new to me, just a quick recap on my experience and my philosophy in trading. So the very first time that I trade is 6 years ago. So I became a trader during the COVID days, 2019, 2020, right? So during that time, obviously, everyone is in quarantine. Everyone is, if you still remember, we are all trapped in our house, right? You might probably be playing Dota, you might probably be playing COD. So we are actually in our house. We are trapped there, nothing to do. For me, it's even worse. I'm not only trapped in my house, I am jobless. I don't have any income, and my saving is burning. So I am devastated. I don't have, I'm depressing. I don't have any money, and I need to borrow money from my girlfriend to make a living back in those days. And one day, a friend of mine called, it's actually from a broker house, and he offered me a job, to become an online analyst, to share about, financial markets. And I told him I have no experience in it. And he said that it's okay because you know how to talk, right? You know how to present yourself and you know how to articulate complex ideas into easy understand things. So that is the yeah, to me, my intention is simple. I need to make money. So I took the job. And after I took that job, I start to you, you know, I start to study about the market. I start to study about trading. And at first, it is very, very scary because I don't really understand what is going on in front of me. When I look at the charts, when I look at all these candles, I feel nervous because I have almost nothing inside of my brain. So it is like point blank. Sometimes when client ask me about what is this about, what is that about, I don't understand. So I tell myself, if I were to do this, I'm going to do it in a very classy and professional way. So I took courses, I do my own homework, and I really dive deep into turning this entire craft into something that is legit. So there's a word called fake it until you make it, right? It really happens to me. I really fake it until I make it. I turn something that doesn't exist at first into my very own craft. So after that, did I become a profitable trader? Honestly speaking, it works for a while. I learned about key level trading. I learned about how to write the structure, everything, but it doesn't really help me in a way to become a professional, stable, and profitable trader. It actually um, makes me very short-sighted. It makes me only, react towards what the indicator is telling me. Because back at those days, what I'm learning is how to use the indicator, how to use this and use that. So I don't really understand what is auction market theory. I don't really understand the why behind the price action. So right after ChatGPT, came to the market, and I start to use AI heavily to really understand what is actually happening behind the scenes. So I start to do research on auction market theory, and I start to understand everything that you see in front of you in front of you right now that is happening live is actually an auction. It is actually a buyer and seller trying their very best to negotiate and find agreement to trade. So it's not about direction. It's about understanding what is the current market auction be at and try to position yourself into a place that is much more favorable for you to trade. So after that really, snap in my mind, I start to become very stable. I start to become very calm when it comes to trading. I don't, all this trading style that you are watching live right here, collecting evidence, try to analyze, what the market regime is, using, fixed range volume profile, all this thing, right? All this, drawing everything, it is actually a form of trading, um, that is heavily influenced by auction market theory. So for me, I would have to say I am a big beneficial from the AI revolution because back at those days, without AI, without artificial intelligence, without ChatGPT or cloud, I need to learn from gurus. I need to learn from people that are outside that. And I'm not saying that teacher is not good. I have my own mentor. It's just that sometimes teacher is trying to, brand something that is not really beneficial to you. They try to compress, the knowledge into an easy to understand way. And you sort of like, you need to ask yourself, the thing that you learn, is it like marketing gimmick or is it really something that can equip you to become successful in trading? And the most honest source of information is actually not from gurus and it's not from me. Even though that I'm a teacher, even though that, I want to make money from selling courses, but still, I cannot neglect the fact that right now in this era, the only reliable source that you can lean on is actually through AI. Because if you ask the right question, you can get, the correct answer immediately without someone trying to package, the information into a brand so that they can sell it to you, right? So think of it like this. Retail market is a very, very noisy place. It is an extremely noisy place. And everyone is trying to sell something. Everyone is trying to sell signal, try to sell courses, try to sell everything, including me. I want to sell something as well. That is why I do live stream, right? But still, I have something that is kind of like contradicting to my career, which is I try to be as truthful as possible when it comes to teaching. It's not because that I don't want to, make money from you guys. It's just that I think it is stupid to assume that you don't know the truth. As a teacher, it is a part of my job to liberate you guys, from false illusion. And if you can, I might not make money from you guys, but if you guys can feel the integrity and sincerity that I offer, then we can, do some business together, some coaching session together. So yeah, a big part about my style in trading, I rely heavily on AI. And also, a lot of things that I would say, I actually my question and the answer from AI together, it actually revolutionize and create that snap that allows me to find my edge. So the edge actually happens when I ask AI about what is the most reliable upstream hypothesis that I can lean on in trading. And it came out with three words: auction market theory. And when I start to, the more I understand about auction market theory, the more I understand why in the previous years I'm not profitable. I'm not profitable and I'm not consistent. So right now I'm much more profitable, I'm much more consistent, and it is really, really, a pleasure to share all this experience with you guys. So yeah, this is yep. So enough of talking. Let us see, what is currently happening in the chart again. 15-minute charts currently priced at 4690, and we are not reacting right now because we want to wait for the price to actually retest 4700, which is the LBM, and we will see how it actually perform later on. So this would be as accurate as it gets, okay, we are looking for a sell trade. If the seller is actually proving to us that they are actually strong, right? So, but the real answer will be revealed when the price actually tests this level, which is $4,705. Okay, when the price actually retests this level, then you know we can actually get an accurate answer of everything. But before that, don't do anything yet. Okay, we need it to retrace to 4700. Okay, let me do that. So the retrace would be here. Okay, so we wait for the price to actually test it here. Okay, all right, so right now let us go and check for another. Let's see, what do we have. Wow. What happened in UJ? Right, let's go. One more pair and we are done. Guys, it is a really quality signal that I gave you guys just now for um, the gold pair. And I really want you guys to really, dive deep into it. It is actually a really quality analysis because of, I'm actually enjoying myself. The mental state, clarity, everything is top notch. So I do see that we have a really good chance to make good money, right? So for that particular setup for gold, I want you guys to really look at my notes, look at my charts, my idea, and try to understand it yourself, all right? Because when it touches that level, it actually, might make you some money. So right now we are going into the UJ pair. So next, I'm going to look for key level. So the thing about me is that I don't try to make a conclusion yet because I'm trying to gather information. So it is a process of forming the hypothesis. So there's, a process of using the hypothesis and a process to forming the hypothesis. So I'm currently what you're looking right now is that I'm collecting all this evidence, based on my observation, and I'm trying to create the hypothesis. So if you ask me right now, is it buy or sell, do or what? It is after the hypothesis. But right now, I am a detective. So I am not a judge, I'm a detective. So when I'm in detective mode, I cannot really, tell the difference yet. So after that, I after usually for the daily time frame, I understand from a macro level right now, I would try to really find the key level and try to understand where is the reliable key level that is really there. So we do have key level here. Two touches. Yep, this would be a reliable key level. Yeah, the key level would be somewhere. Okay, so key level. So the key level is between 159661 and 159512, right? Found a key level. Okay, so I gather enough information. Now let's do the thing. So usually what I do is that I try to go to the go to my chart. Okay. Ah, nice. So currently buyers are building pressure inside the bearish compression trap, and the market is calling towards structural decision point that will define the next significant move. So the drop to 158.400 is a major liquidity sweep. So it's actually a double confluence resistance test happening in real time. So there's two outcomes only for this particular trade, US dollar JPY. So if there's a really strong close, a really strong close above 159.512, so the next target would be around 654, and then 159777. Yeah, triangle officially breaking and bullish. So if the price actually went from here, break here, break here, and break this structure, then it's going to go bullish, right? It's going to go bullish. So this is scenario A. So this is actually the tipping point. So 159512 would be a really, really critical point for the seller and buyer to prove to us who is actually stronger. Price drop aggressively to 158,400. So pull back. All right, so yeah, we are looking at buying signal. If I were to choose, one, is it going to sell or buy for this particular trade in US dollar JPY? We are going to look at buy, right? Because the buyers actually swept the lows and it recovered, it actually recovered very hard, and it's actually knocking the resistance from momentum behind them. So this sequence actually is historically resolved bullish more often than not, right? So what we see is that scenario A would be if there's a confirmed close above 159,512. If there's like a confirmed close and right here, right, it would be a really good, you know a really, really good opportunity for us to aim for at least a few pips here, right? So this would be the setup. All right, this would be the setup for buy. So let me see, is it like potential, how much long position? So the entry, 512, stop loss 150. yeah, this would be a much more better trade. So yeah, this is currently, the setup for um it is the setup for UJ, and I'm gonna give you the notes. All right. So yeah, guys, final check before we end our live stream. All right, nice. It is actually the level is actually happening right now, but we needed to like test a few times. So yeah, scenario A is actually working right now. Scenario B on its way. Okay. Yeah, so guys, I've already sent you guys the notes and the setup for this particular trade, gold and Japanese yen. And yeah, the intention for today is enjoy trading. And I hope that you guys actually enjoy trading as much as I do today. Um, Personally, I think that I am emotionally stable, flowing through the charts, analyze, incorporating AI together with the trade. So I would say that, I would rate 8 out of 10 based on emotional stability, structure, probability, everything. I think it is actually a really quality session that, I share the entire thoughts with you guys. So for this particular trade, it is already happening right now. It is, you know, testing 4700 and it is actually heading its way, down. So it is okay. And for US dollar Japanese yuan, I've shared my thought as well. We are looking for, a buying trade. So where it is actually on its way to retest this particular level right here. So yeah, there you go. We have like two trades, ready to for you guys to consider and use it as a reference. But last but not least, I want you guys to really do your own due diligence before copying my trade blindly, right? So that is the setup that I have for today. So if you guys like my session, if you guys like, what Aurex is actually offering, feel free to, subscribe our channel, and also feel free to contact our customer service and Grace, to understand more about what we have to offer for you guys. So my name is CG, and I thank you very much for investing 2 hours of your time right here with me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out. Thanks, man.